Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, our audience and everyone across the globe. Uh, this is a very spontaneous session. I had the privilege of visiting today Son of the Soil, General Muhammad Afzal, and we are meeting after 4 years.
Yeah, that's more so.
So, the idea is for the audience to uh, hear from his side what he has been up to, who is General Afzal. So, sir, just tell us about yourself, your journey, and who is General Afzal.
Uh, Actually, my journey started in 65, and as I started understanding things, I came to know that one of the person who was missing believed killed in 65 war was my father. And for many years, I thought these would go to come back. But as the things go, you understand that the missing belief killed if he's not PW, he is gone. My father was pioneer of one of the pioneers of special services group, which was formed in late 50s by Americans, and he was one of those 68 persons who were trained in USA and came back and formed the nucleus of Red Beret, which came into being in 1958-59. And I vividly remember as a young officer, I used to see a lot of old things which my mother had preserved in a wooden black trunk, and I used to see there. And I joined Junior Cadet Battalion in 1982, April 1982, almost 41 years ago. And after having graduated from PMA, I passed out in first 10 cadets of military academy. Fortunately or unfortunately, I was in first 10, and I was asked by my instructor to join Corps of Engineers and his unit.
Can I ask, interrupt you, which company?
I was in Tariq Company, and in JCB I was in Dali Company, and I joined one of the engineering battalion, in which I served till captain, and once I became major, I was shifted to newly raised unit, which was assault engineering battalion. Later on, which I commanded also.
One of the pioneers.
Yeah. In my army life was also very arduous, very difficult. Unfortunately, I have never been part of a group, so I was like a lone wolf fighting its own battle.
It's the lone wolves which always go to the top. That's what I believe in.
And
Leaders are always alone.
and still, after my retirement, I am fighting my battle, and my battle is our future generation. There are a lot of controversies in this country. I have no issues with the controversies. I have no issues with the problem. I like challenges. I like difficult environment to work with, and I thrive in crisis. I thrive in difficulty.
I think the real champions, they shine in a challenging environment.
I
Sorry to interrupt you. So tell me, immediately after your life with the military, and suddenly you come to a different scenario and different role. So what were your immediate thoughts after retirement in the civil life? What did you see? What's happening in the society, in the social circle, the ecosystem? How the social layers and private sector people challenges and the issues they're facing.
actually, Rizwan, I'm one of those lucky officers who got to know internal dynamics of the country very early. First time I had of touch of civil life Once I was brigade major of an infantry brigade, and my brigade was monitoring the civil administration after 98, 99 martial law. So I had first-hand interaction with people's complaint, with bureaucracy, with other tiers of government which were functioning. And as a young officer, as a major, who is sort of a chief of staff of a brigade and normally handles everything which comes in the brigade and prepares summaries, prepare notes and prepare recommendation for his commander and subsequently for higher headquarters. This was my first unique experience of meeting people, looking at our bureaucracy, looking at our system, and looking at the nature, type, and overall values of people.
So basically, that was your first challenge as into civil and business life. Like this is
Yeah.
all. It looks to me someone who is overall responsible for business strategy and
Actually, as I look back and as things unfolded, I always now feel that Allah has been, you know, from His orders, was planning to groom me in a way where I could do some financial and technical innovations which could take out this country out of the mess we are in. And after the retirement, I thought, and although the way I am, I also never had an expectation that I will be called for helping public sector. So I thought that I would be good enough to work in a private sector, in my private domain, and in my private way of the way I like doing things. I would be able to do those and perform them, and I'm performing them.
so basically you actually wanted to give back to the people.
Yes.
The people who are less fortunate, who due to how the societies are conditioned and transformed, those layers, they never get access to those things. So you wanted to uplift those parts of the society. So what were the immediate challenges and immediate low-hanging fruit sort of concept you thought, okay, these are the areas immediately I can put my hands and start something from ground up.
Well, I started a multi-pronged system. One, I started off as soon as I was about to retire. That that was a trust school or a trust in the name of my father. It is in my village. The land which belongs to me, my mother and my sister, has been donated to that trust, which is around 19 canals.
So basically, you decided that I want to uplift people who doesn't have access to education, and you were
the
willing
quality education.
education and quality education.
Quality education.
Absolutely, and you decided to let go of your land.
Yeah, my ancestral land I have already donated to the trust, and I'm a sort of superstitious man that while I was a brigadier and being considered for Major General, I had made a pledge to my Allah that if I make it to Major General, the first benefit which I'm going to get would be sold and a school would be made.
Wow. So I think that's not superstition. To me, it's more having a good heart.
So it took me around 8 to 9 months to collect all the land because land holding in my area is very small. You have 500 yard at one place, 1,000 yard at another place. So we had that land come to one place by giving some kind of money and bartering our land with other people. And that was a challenging, and that also gave me another peep into our society and way of working. But by end of the day, I not only contributed as part of education, but it resulted in the uplift of area. For instance, the land which was almost say 30,000 rupees marla now is not available at 5 lakh rupees a marla.
So that gave a ripple effect. That
Yes,
uplifted
that created a kind of financial energy in that area, that now there are a lot of things going on. The bank has come up, the gas is there, light is there, sewage system has started functioning, and the price of land has risen in last 6 years 10 times.
So it gave financial and commercial uplift to the
That-
surroundings, to the people, to the area.
And now the basic concept was that my school, once it started, I had interviewed around almost 800 girls for teacher, kept 29. And out of those 29, I trained myself. I ordered training myself for about 9 months. It was September 2017 that I selected them. The building was almost getting complete, but there was no children's study. Till March 18, I used to go every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Used to train those girls who were to become teachers. And in April 2019, we started a first session with -3 + 4.
Okay.
-3 means playgroup, nursery, and there's a third one, and 1, 2, 3, 4. And we started with 150 children. Alhamdulillah, we have touched 500.
And how many are
And our
girls?
indigenous class, which was 4th class, has now reached 9th grade.
Wow.
And Alhamdulillah, this was the first time that 8th class, which is now grade 9, we had given them 2,000 rupees each to make a project for themselves, which should sell itself. And they were allowed to make groups. They were allowed to get money from the parents if they can afford.
So you're already feeding the startup mindset.
Yeah.
And tell us about the percentage of boys and girls in the school.
It is around 42%, 43% as boys and rest are girls.
I want to tell our audience, especially on this, it's a very sensitive subject, but when I meet General Saab, I really feel very encouraged because he's very clear on this issue. That I think it's about 52% of Pakistan is female, and the representation, the opportunities, I don't know what word to use, but it's like really there's a lot of sort of oppression is a strong word, but I think it's the right word as well. And this school endeavor is one thing, but when we met today, you told me something by surprise, and I was like really overwhelmed and impressed that even on the business side, your own tech and some startup idea, even the ideology and the main MVP on that is focused on the female side. So can you quickly tell us about that?
Actually, I started off 5 startups last year. And I had first hands-on experience on 2 of these startups, which were founded by some others people, and I joined them. That was a good experience I had, and then I raised 6 startups of my own. And out of 6, one is the name of Rising Girls.
Rising Girls.
Rising Girls. And it has 3 main objectives. Objective number 1 is that we have about 52% of population of female. And out of 52%, that 52%, which is around 125 million girls and women, around 80 million, rather 85 million, are less than 30 years of age.
Wow.
And out of this 85 million girls, around 60 million are school and university going.
So that's the future.
And let me also tell you that the working woman out of working women, only 1 to 2% are, you can say, in a graded class. Say if they are government employee, they are from grade 17 and above.
Yeah.
Let me also tell you, even in the teachers in the elite schools are not carrying more than 40,000 rupees a month from their schools.
That's really sad.
So they can't afford cars.
They can't even afford
So
cycle.
I wanted to empower them, and I just wanted to make a trial of my own school, which is in a village. And the demand is so overwhelming that Umar has not been able to cope up with that.
Not just empowerment, you're making them independent.
Independent.
Unless they don't become independent.
And one of the girls was talking to me last week once I was in Paris that, sir, you know that my mother says that I am not a girl, I'm your boy. You are my boy.
This should be the mindset.
And Alhamdulillah, seeing that, I decided, and the second thing which has been part of my work since last 8-9 years, I've been working on this, that was climate change. And I looked at it from two perspectives, which dearly relate to my nation, my future generation. Number one is the climate. Number two is the financing, the cash, capital. So on as far as climate is concerned, we have 3.5 million bikes, motorcycles being made in Pakistan. 3.5 million all types.
Every year.
Every year. The first point is that not more than 100, not more than 100 are being bought by the girls.
That's
And unfortunately, those 100 which are bought by the girls, actually, these are not from the point of need, these are from the point of fun.
Fun or a gift or just.
Gift. So, I wanted to empower them. I wanted them to have their own destiny in their own hand, and I wanted them to be independent of the reliance sitting as a pilot rider on a motorcycle, going in a van where they face a lot of harassment, and
Or
also
depending on your brother or dad or whoever. to take them.
and also I carried out a survey, and a lot of my girls were coming on either a hired rickshaw or a Suzuki, which takes them to school.
Yeah. In a group.
And that Suzuki charges them 6,000 to 8,000 rupees a month.
In Karachi, it's even higher.
So what I thought that should I create a model whereby they should give that rent of rickshaw or a taxi to the vendor of a motorcycle and get their motorcycle on this installment and
At their own property.
as their own property. So that is one we created. We started assembling the bikes. We started assembling the lithium battery. But the best thing which I'm looking at, and which I shared my working in Ministry of Finance, we import about $20 billion worth of fuel. And out of 20 billion worth of fuel, my numbers may be challengeable. So just take them as a reference.
Yeah,
So,
rough numbers are fine.
About 40 to 45% is मोगैस, पेट्रोल, जिसको उर्फ़े आम में हमारे यहाँ पेट्रोल कहा जाता है. The mogas is around $8 billion, $8 or $9 billion. And if you look at cars and the SUVs, the financial worth of fuel going to those is around $3 billion. So where goes the remaining? Remaining goes to the two categories of two strokes.
Oh.
It is motorcycle and it is
Rickshaws.
And every motorcycle, by burning 1 liter of petrol or more gas, produces 55 milligrams or carbon, which is very, very degradable for the climate
Already.
already. So I thought, number one, that you are working for climate. Number two, what you are doing is, and I had suggested, made a paper and submitted in the Ministry of Finance, that you, the $6 billion worth of fuel for 1 year, you take out $2 billion, spend it on a light engineering industry involved in EV,
Yeah, research and development.
and $4 billion you let it go the way it is going, and out of the remaining $4 billion, spend $500 million to buy all those motorcycles which are as older than 2016 model. And anyone and everyone who deposits his motorcycle pre 2016 gets a e-bike of 2023 free of cost.
You're serious?
I am very serious. And let me tell you, if government is now, there are approximately 60 million motorcycles in the country.
There's a lot of bike. That's what I see on the roads of Karachi.
So if you are able to replace half of them, actually you are making a saving of $3 billion every year.
And what are we going to do with those bikes who were returned?
Those bikes will be given to those vendors from where government has purchased, and that is the kind of subsidy government is providing them. So they will take the bike, deassemble them, sort of recycle those components which are worth recycling, and make new e-bikes.
Wow.
So that's how I thought, and
That's simple but very ingenious.
that's how I looked at it. Now the second problem I am addressing through another app I have been able to develop. I have already got 3 projects. That is tokenization. I am doing tokenization of infrastructure, and infrastructure means housing, roads, bridges, airports, railways, hospitals, universities, and technology parks. Everything is included in that. And what you are doing is that you are now harnessing that money which every time goes in the real estate. And unfortunately, this is my calculation. It might be disputable by some people, but I can show my working. I feel that $3,000 billion of Pakistani nation are sunk in the real estate development.
I wanted to actually ask you, when I see that you look at the society, and in terms of intellectual growth, you take all the industries, it's like sort of zero. Everyone is after property, everyone is after plots, everyone is like 1 plot, 2 plots. They just don't talk about anything. They talk about these kind of things where they can make quick money, and they're not thinking about that where the nation will be in next 50 to 100 years. We should
Actually,
have
the
different
issue is
industries.
that people are not being educated. And unfortunately, the old...
And grooming.
Yeah, you can call it a grooming, but the main problem is that you are not looking at the transition which is taking place from traditional industry to what I call is disruptive industry.
Exactly.
And what I feel is that by 2040 or 2050, we have a space where, being a nation which has a very large population, we can have our just share of world GDP growth. And
Because
that
we're
would,
still not even in the third
that could
revolution.
only be that you have not been able to put up industry. So what you can do is that you can train your manpower in software, hardware, knowledge-based economy. What I would say, the place near the edge of known physics, because you keep spending on BMR of cotton industry. Since you're not value adding,
Does it
you,
still exist? Because the way things
and
are,
your industrialist is of old state mindset.
we were discussing
That
this
is the
yesterday,
main
and
reason.
these states are still making housing schemes. They're making these factories and buildings, and that's it. Quick money. Just making more capital and capital. No knowledge base.
So I have the startups where I have young people working with me. They are based on their money, small money, and small ESOPs. And what I am doing is I go to new tech. I uh, teach them business, entrepreneurship, and technology. I'm a volunteer there. I am a mentor of LSE Generate, LSE London School of Economics. I am one of the declared mentor by LSE Generate is there.
Yeah,
One.
no. Wow. So
And
you are
I'm-
basically training them, educating them, grooming them, and giving them premium education and grooming the standards of international universities and academia.
I am also a Carbon 13 mentor, which is sponsored by Oxford.
Wow.
And I sit on cohortship of London School of Economics, HEC Paris, and
Because when I called you 2 days ago, you told me you just landed from Paris. So what was happening at HEC?
Actually, I had gone for 15 days. Primarily, I am with them for next 1.5 years. We are working on developmental finance. We are working on modern marketing. We are working on globalization. We are working on developmental finance. And why I was there? Because I was lucky to innovate number of financial models while my stay as Frontier Works organization. Those models created a lot of problems for me for the reason that there are a lot of people who even do not have a rudimentary understanding of those.
Yeah,
You understand what I'm saying?
exactly. It's
I'm
people
keeping my
people are
spirit.
doing things which they have no clue about.
And let me also tell you, and this is for everyone who's listening, new modern industry costs you very little and gives you far more than what you can
The
have.
output is huge.
The only thing is that in Pakistan, most of the projects, rather all the projects are equity based.
Yeah.
I have never worked on a project on a total equity basis. I work on equity and financing. I bring in banks. I bring in institution that makes your business transparent
Absolutely.
because the stakeholders are large. So
And there is little room for corruption and
there is
something
little
going on.
room for corruption and there is little room for your tax evasion.
Exactly.
So by even doing everything, the profits are phenomenal. What I am aiming at, aiming at that in first phase, in next about 5 years, all elite school should have e-buses.
Wow.
And I was supposed to come back from Paris on 28th. I came back on 1st for the reason that I had a meeting with one of the CEO of Eurobus in Paris. One of the CEO, why I'm saying is that component which deals with the e-buses, I was talking to them. And I'm in process of talking to the elite schools in Pakistan. And why the idea came to my mind? Again, 3 things. Number 1, environment. If you get out of DHA, try to go to Sadarpindi. It is about 5 kilometer distance and it takes you 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon once there is school time.
It took me just now almost an hour. Although if everything is fine, I should have taken 10 minutes.
10 minutes. So look at number of cars coming to the school, every school.
And every kid has their own
Look
bad
at the
fancy car.
manpower which is employed other than the student itself. Look at the fuel, and lastly, number of carbon emissions.
Like if you look at the human factor, so that means you are producing more unnecessary and trivial jobs. You are producing more drivers rather than teachers.
So I had envisioned, and the vision has started prickling, that we are talking to large number of schools. They will have school buses. School buses will have seats according to the kids, and every child once he enters, he puts his biometric, and the biometric results initiation of 3 SMSs, one going to the father, the other going to mother, the third going to the teacher. And father, mother, and the teacher have their app on their phone, and they are able to see the boy or girl in the bus.
So they are track location based.
Track location. So if a parent is paying 60,000 rupees as a school fee and spending 50 to 60,000 rupees for daily pick and drop of the child, they are quite capable of paying 25,000 rupees for the bus seat.
Oh, absolutely.
And buses are based on the charging stations, and the buses come, drop the girls and boys, and go to the market, start running as a kind of local, and come back around 11:30, 12 o'clock, pick the girls and boys, drop them there, and come and put it on charging.
And who's going to develop the app?
I is already in almost pipeline. Okay. We would like people to join us. We cannot provide money because we do not have much of it, but we can harness their direction. We can provide them a leadership, and we can also provide them mentorship, and we can also provide them a kind of source where we can help them in small, trivial, functional matters.
So you mean in terms of private sector, like decent large tech companies or any of the vertical, they should, how do we tell them to step up and
Actually,
talk to us
I can
and
help
join?
them in 3 things. I can help them in upscaling their businesses. I can help them to reorganize their systems, what they usually call it as BMR, build, modernize, and reform. Although I've been doing bigger institutions, I did reform FWO, I did reform Engineering Chief Branch, and I did reform National Disaster Management Authority.
That we know very well.
And I also, once I was in the military intelligence, I tried to reform that component which was under me. So basically what we need to do is, number one, that we need to train our younger generation. Number two, we need to create capital, and Alhamdulillah, I create capital.
In terms of the knowledge-based side, I personally feel that especially our youth and our business community, youngsters starting from entry-level jobs in tech and other verticals, more or less they have learned skills and things on their own. There is no uniformity, there is no structure, there are no tools and places where they have a system in place where they can have
Actually, there is one for my school. My vision is that once boy or girl they reach 8th class, they should be capable of making small programs. And by the time they get out and do their O level, they should be able to have a laptop and start earning for their education.
So you're training them to be entrepreneurs
From the school.
school age.
I told you that we gave them 2,000 each. There were 23 children in one class, so it was 46,000 rupees that we gave it to them. And there was an opinion of my teacher, especially the principle that we are wasting this 46,000 rupees. And if you put it in numbers and tangible results, one might call it the wastage.
They don't look at the bigger picture.
So what I thought was that even it was good enough that they had an idea and they flopped it. Even they have flopped it. It doesn't really matter to me. I wanted them to make 4 slide or 5 slide, and I wanted them to make a small business plan.
Yeah, want them to try. If you don't make mistakes, you're not going to learn.
And,
the
and
biggest failure is that you never try.
there are a number of them who looked at a very small picture, so I told them, because a lot of young boys and girls even who are fresh graduates of LUMS, I see them making a sabzi wala startup, the flana wala startup, the flana wala
In
startup.
this startup
Actually-
rat race, you saw.
Actually, that's what I want to intervene and guide people. I can give them thousands of ideas.
If a person studying in such an elite institution and all they are doing is the things which even someone who lives in a low commerce area, in a street, in a small room, those kids are actually coming with better ideas. If the intellectual level of LUMS kids is that, then God help
Well,
us.
I would not like to talk about the institutions, but
You saw
just
a few
give-
of my things. I am fundamentally against them. There you already created a class culture, and you already have this political tribal mindset in organization that LUMS guy will do this, and this guy is going to do this, and this private small institution guy will have this kind of role. What's going on? I wanted to ask you, why don't we think on the lines that we have a knowledge-based program where we enhance these kind of skills for that workforce in offices.
Actually,
The corporate
you
force.
came just to. We have been talking since almost last 4 years, and you were very keen to call on me, and I'm really honored to have you at my place. But let me tell you that I never thought that you were going to have a camera and you would be talking to me and we'll be.
So I want to
Actually,
cut you here. I
I
want to tell my audience that I came to meet him, and he had many Zoom calls with his international audience, and they were keep changing time, and he insisted, no, you have to come. And we came, we started talking, and I just realized that I'm flying back tomorrow, and I don't know when I'm going to come back again. So why not make a quick video? The things you've been telling them, I want to
Okay, let me
record and document them.
Let me tell you, I am working on a disruptive university, a kind of copy of Singularity University.
Wow.
I am also in communication with them, and I will visit them next June. Singular. They already sent me an invitation. I could not go to Singularity University in San Francisco in January. So I will be going next June, not this June. And I will have a session with them. We are already working on many options, and that is where you keep telling me that I should take you in one of the projects. So this is the project we should be doing.
I will. I have to. This is
I
something I don't want to
get
advise
some
you.
time come back again from Karachi, although it's very cumbersome coming back from Karachi, and come back, and that's an idea where I'm very serious, very serious.
I'm already inspired to the.
Very serious, and I want to have a university of level of LUMS, but it's an perennial journey would be homed on to disruptive technology and financial technology domain.
All the emerging techs. and-
All emerging techs.
So our youth and the people working in different organizations, tech industry, banking industry, whatever, they should not think of leaving the country. They should be upskilled to a level that the productivity of those companies go up. Not just likes of one company.
I think
You
let
get my
me-
point?
Yeah. Let me tell you. I have already discussed my financial model of this e-scooter, what I'm calling e-scooter, with the new tech, boys and girls. I can come and talk to any university for hours and hours with any of the class, from civil engineering to any engineering discipline, from medical colleges and other places. And you could switch on the Zoom, and I will just join them. Actually, I have an international Zoom meeting.
I know you told me.
I would, request you.
I think let's pause this beautiful session till here, and for the other things which are we just still, I'm trying to probe you. We should continue in our next session.
Sure, why not?
So guys, ladies and gentlemen and everyone and youth and kids and girls and boys, stay tuned. Soon we will be heading to our next part of this session. So till then, stay tuned and see you guys soon.
Thank you very much, Rizwan, for coming.